Hi there, welcome to Elite Yoga. This is our live streaming service. It's part of a subscription program and also to introduce people to yoga, proper practice as it should be, and also targeted towards cyclists and the things that you personally need to do, your must exercises and stretches really. So more of the exercises are actually in the subscription service, but I'll do all your stretches with you here, and learning how to do them properly it just takes practice, just takes some time. So we're going to start from scratch. We're going to start with your feet together and line them up with your tailbone, and then you're going to put your knees together and lie back down in a straight line. And for the moment, you're just going to put your hands on your lower abdominals, which put your hands below your navel, okay? And I want you to try and pull your tail towards your navel, okay? So without moving your bone, your pelvic bone, you're going to pull muscularly your tail to your navel, okay? So in yoga, this is called the Mula Bandha, or the root lock in the body. And this is where your power comes from to do any movement, including cycling, standing up, walking, running, sprinting, dancing, whatever. So this is where your power comes from, not from tension in your body. So that's the main thing that you need to start to work. This Mula Bandha has an unlimited energy and only ever works one way. Other muscles work in opposition. Okay, so the Mula Bandha is this action of the tail pulling in and up. All of those muscles, in and up. So that is your anus, other pelvic floor muscles, including your whole lower abdominal region, in and up. So in the beginning, all you want to do is think about pulling your tail to your navel and up. All right, that's all I'm going to say about that now. Okay, from here, you're going to keep this on to a certain degree during every posture we do. Stretching your right leg down, and you're going to use Mula Bandha to pick up your left knee. Put your left arm out to the side in line with your shoulder, right hand on the outside of the knee, your shin faces the ceiling, and then you're going to let your pelvis rotate to the right. So the Mula Bandha is supporting your pelvis as it rotates. The muscles from the tail to the navel pulling in and up are supporting your pelvis as it rotates to the right. Okay, so this frees up your lower back. It stretches the outside of your hip. But that Mula Bandha organizes your nervous system. It is the center of the body. In dancing, we call it your center. Pull in Mula Bandha a bit more to come back, because that's where your effort comes from, and stretch your leg down. The effort comes from Mula Bandha to lift your right knee, right arm out to the side, left hand on the outside of your knee, and rotate your pelvis to the left this time. Okay, it's important that you get a good degree of rotation here. The backs of the shoulders stay on the floor, and they are the roots of the pose, so you lightly press them down. In and up with the Mula Bandha. Stretching the outside of your hip. You'll start to become more and more intuitive, know where your body is in any moment when you are constantly leading with the Mula Bandha. It starts to tell you how far to pull back a bit, to go a bit further. Come on back using your Mula Bandha first. Place your foot down and the other foot down too. Cross your right foot above your left knee and pulling the toes back towards your shin, making sure your pelvis, your hip bones are level. So this is a neutral pelvis without tilting your pelvis, okay? So your pelvis is neutral, and then you're going to press your right knee towards the front of the mat. Of course, you've got your Mula Bandha. Then you're going to lift up your left knee, holding the back of the thigh, and you're going to engage Mula Bandha a little bit more for your left knee to come in towards your chest as your right knee presses forward. So you've got your Mula Bandha in and up, your pelvis down on the floor, your left knee's coming in as your right knee's pressing forward. This is how you separate your piriformis from your other hip muscles to free it up. And that's where your sciatic nerve runs through. So we're stretching in here, your piriformis. Okay, that's where you sit on the bike and you're pushing for a long time. So that muscle gets particularly tight with cyclists. Placing your foot down, arms out to the side, rotating your pelvis. Remember, your Mula Bandha is first because that's the effort first in the body before you apply energy elsewhere. Press down your right foot and open the knee towards the front of the mat. So as you block off this region from the tail to the navel, it's pulling in and up. It presses your breath into your chest cavity. You want to expand the side and the back of the ribs with your breath. And this action of this rotating this knee out starts to again separate your piriformis from the other muscles. And coming back using Mula Bandha, then place your foot down, crossing your left foot above your right knee and pulling your toes back. Check you're in neutral. Okay, sometimes you do most often have to check that you're square, and then you're going to press your left knee forward, lifting your Mula Bandha. Increase the stretch. Mula Bandha pulls your foot up off the floor. Lifting the Mula Bandha, drawing your right knee in, opening your left knee out. So the left knee is pressing forward to the front of the mat. So there are times to breathe into your belly. In traditional practice, like in a full Ashtanga series, you do not once breathe into your belly. You are using your abdominals for the power of the rest of the body. So you want to breathe into your lungs, which are mainly at the back of your rib cage, placing your right foot down, and you're going to rotate the shape, the pelvis to the right. Okay, so training your body in and up, holding these muscles while you then breathe nice and freely, expanding the chest cavity to breathe. As you open your left knee towards the front of the mat. Okay, coming back using your Mula Bandha, and we're going to place your foot down on the floor, taking your strap, putting it around the ball of your right foot, lengthening your left leg down. Okay, so you've got your pelvis gently pressing down towards the front of the mat, your Mula Bandha drawing in and up. Open your toes, pressing the right ball of the foot, the big toe away, and the left glutes you're going to turn on, pressing down your left heel. Okay, it's like you're standing on the floor, stretching your pelvis down and lifting up lightly through the crown of the head. So again, like I said last week, this eventually is you hold your big toe, right? And you're pulling with your Mula Bandha, your leg towards your head, and you're pressing away with this big toe, okay? So making sure that the force comes from the right place, from Mula Bandha, and not you trying to tug on the hamstrings, okay? So they're quite elastic in this position. And then you're going to place your left hand on your hip, the strap in the right hand. And again, your Mula Bandha is in control of this range of motion, your leg moving away from your body. So, you should be able to just take the strap away and you're holding it there with your abdominals. Okay, so I'm letting you have the experience of what it feels like to press into the big toe and create the force of that actually lifts up your inner thigh muscles, which is the right action with or without the strap. Come on back using your Mula Bandha. Lower the leg to 90 or less. Turn the leg in and take the right arm out. Taking your leg across you now, and then your pelvis. So you've got a rotation in the pelvis. Sit bones stretch down to the front of the mat. And come on back. Then other leg. So left foot in the strap. Right leg down. Okay, stretching your sit bones down to the front of the mat. Organising your foot, so you've got your big toe reaching away more than the others, opening up your shoulders. So your tail to your navel, those muscles pulling in and up towards your diaphragm. Your right glutes are engaged. Spreading your toes, whatever is happening in the foot travels up through your leg, into your knee, into your hip, into your back, even up to your neck actually. Your feet are the thing that contact the ground. And left, take the strap in the left hand, rotating the leg out to the side, using the Mula Bandha to hold the leg, and still got those left glutes on, pressing your right heel down, reaching out through your left big toe, bringing up the inner thighs and the inner hamstring. And now engage Mula Bandha a little bit more for the effort, that full length of your leg to come back. Lower the leg, turn it in, take it across, and then let your pelvis also turn to the right. So it stretches all the way down the outside of your leg. So this little hip series is essential for you to feel good and separate your muscles again. And because in cycling you always have a bent knee to some degree, that you will bunch your muscles up and they will become tight. It's just going to be the nature of that sport. Pull in your Mula Bandha to carry the weight of your leg back and take the strap away. Okay, so we're going to roll onto your front today. And we're going to bend your right knee, taking your foot with your hand, and you're going to press it down your hip bones gently. Drawing in your Mula Bandha. Take your right foot, and you can take the strap if you can't reach your foot. That's okay. The strap or even a towel, just wrap it around. Keep your hip down and draw your foot in towards your hip. Spreading your toes. Okay, other side, left knee. Hips down. Hips pressing down, so it's an action. They are the roots of the pose. They gently press down into your mat. Tail energy is coming in and up. So your navel, your tail pulling to your navel. Notice how the front of your hip and knee feel. Glutes lightly engaged.
to support the front of the hip opening, aligning and supporting. Okay, other side. So we're going to do right side again. And this time you're going to stay here, or if you want to increase the stretch, you can come up on your left elbow, take the knee out a little bit and take the foot, your hand on the top of your foot, drawing your heel towards the outside of the hip. And so this is a fantastic stretch to also get into outer quad and hip flexors. And they get very tight when you do things where your knees are slightly turned in, like speed work on a bike. Other side. Bones gently pressing down. Now, because this is a more intense stretch of the front of your hip, you've got to engage the back of your hip more, meaning your glutes more. Hand on the top of your foot. Have you forgotten Mula Bandha? Increase it a bit more. Okie dokie. Releasing that. Now, coming up to your knees. And, okay, so I have a thicker mat usually when I practice. So you can double the mat over if you've got like hard floor. You place your hands so that you've got your fingertips facing towards your knees, okay? And then relax your elbows so you're not locking them. Open your shoulders and then just gently press down your hands. So your fingers and your wrists. Okay, so in yoga, one of the most important principles is whatever's on the floor is aligned first in the right position, and then you create a force of pressing down, and then opposing muscles lift up. So when people tell me that their wrists are hurt when you do a more intense kind of a yoga practice, I will know that they're not pressing down correctly, or they've got their shoulder in the wrong position to begin with. But if you press down, I do 2 hours of practice, handstands, flips, the old school yoga, and I never have pain in my wrist. So it really is that pressing down that makes so the energy doesn't come down into the wrist, but it actually lifts out of it when you press down in this position. Then we are going to kneel up, and you're going to press the tops of your shins down now, on the tops of your feet. Okay, so your shins are straight in line with your knee. You're going to backwards tilt the pelvis now. So you're going to roll your hip bones toward your ribs. So you've got to go down and under. Down first and under, especially if you've had a back issue. So you've got your Mula Bandha, then you go the glutes. You're pressing down your shins because they're the roots of the pose. Then you're going to open your shoulder outwards and take the backs of your legs, and you're going to lift your sternum up to the ceiling. So I'm going to get in full pose, Ustrasana, where you take your hands to your heels. Stay with the hands on the backs of the legs if that's enough for you. You're going to press down your hands. You're not leaning on them. Lifting the Mula Bandha. Breathing into your back. And then you're going to take your hands back to your hips. Coming up. And then you're going to come forward, putting your hands again shoulder width apart. And this time you're going to round your back, flexing your spine. So you're going to tuck your pelvis under again, only this time you're going to round your upper back. So your pelvis comes towards your ribs, shoulders move wide, shoulder blades down to the hips, pressing down your hands and shins. Come back to a neutral spine, and then we're going to tuck your toes, and you're going to lift your hips up and back. So, in the downward dog, you need to get your back in one long line. So, don't try and get your feet flat on the floor before you can get your back in one long line. So I do videos of this in the subscription service because it's quite a complex pose. For the moment, wrap your blades down, round them down onto the rib cage and forward, pressing your hands away as you stretch your sit bones up and back. Lower your knees or step your left foot straight forward. So now your left knee is on top of your left ankle with the second toe pointing forward. There's your alignment. Your right knee is going to face down to the floor in a traditional lunge, and you're going to backwards tilt your pelvis. So your Mula Bandha is going to pull your pelvis under, and then you're going to wrap the glutes in as well. The back of the, to support the back of the pelvis and align your hamstrings and your hip flexors. Open your shoulders, and then you're going to lower your back knee. And we're going to keep the toes tucked, and you're going to roll your hips under still because this is now a kneeling lunge. In any lunge, you do a backwards tilt of the pelvis. So Mula Bandha, glutes, pressing down gently your left foot and your right knee. And then you're going to come back to all fours. And then you're going to lift up into downward dog. Wrapping your shoulder blades down and forward. Lifting your sit bones up and back. And then we're going to lower your knees, or you're going to step forward into the right, comes forward. So you've got your right knee on top of your ankle, your second toe pointing forward. Then you press down your foot once you've got the right alignment. Your Mula Bandha is rolling your hips towards your ribs. Your glutes are engaged because you're engaging them. Pressing down the feet. They're the roots of the pose. Then you've got to lower your left knee. And you're going to roll your hips under still. Noticing what is tighter, the left hip flexors or the right hip flexors. So your deepest hip flexor is the psoas, and it attaches to your lumbar spine. And so if it's tight, it will create back pain without there being any problem in your back. No structural problem. But if you do have a structural problem, you should still do this because it will free up that muscle and get it aligned, working more functionally correct. Okay, back to downward dog. Lower your knees, and we're going to put your knees together and your feet together, and you're going to try to slowly sit down towards your heels. Now, some, particularly men, will be stiff in that position, and that will be enough. You might be up here and just trying to get there, that's fine. If you're a woman and you haven't done maybe heaps of sport, maybe you have, maybe you're more inwardly turned at the hip, and this is just easier for you, you can do the full Virasana posture, taking your thumbs on the inside of your calves, roll the calves out. So I've been a professional dancer, my calves big. So you sit down between your feet, pressing down gently your shins and drawing your knees together. So this is important because people think that yoga is floppy. Nothing of the sort. It is all about really an eccentric strength. So you are, and a postural strength. So you don't just sit here. You are actively pressing down your shins, opening your toes, pressing them down. And that's important because then the opposing muscles lift up, supporting the ankle and the knee joint. And then you're going to pull your knees together, and that is your inner thigh muscles supporting the inside of the knee as you squeeze the knee, okay? You are squeezing the joints, and this compression on the joint is incredible for inflammation, for the tendons in the knee, and over time, and you're not pushing yourself into it, but over time, to be able to get into this posture, you really will have like 20-year-old knees the rest of your life. It is the mark of being able to have free knee joints. Okay. All right. So gently come forward. And then you might feel a bit stiff. That's just normal with this pose. We're going to counteract into downward dog. Open your shoulders, wrapping your blades down and forward. Okay, we're going to come into pigeon pose now. So we're going to take your right leg and you're going to bring it forward. So we're going to put your left top of the foot down. Your left hip points down to the mat. Rotating this right knee out and pressing your right heel across you. As you press down the top of your left foot, reach it back. So you're going to reach to the bottom of the mat with your left foot. There's that eccentric strength I was telling you about. You pull in from the tail to the navel, of course, that's your Mula Bandha. Open your shoulders, pressing down gently your elbows. Single pigeon. So this frees the front of your left hip. Make sure your left butt is engaged, your left glutes. That aligns your left psoas while we're stretching it. And we're also stretching the right piriformis, so the major hip, postural hip muscles. Lower your knees. So you really got to learn this one. Other side. Do it till it works. You might have to repeat 3 or 4 times a day. Okay, right hip down. Pressing the right top of the right foot down and reach it back. Left heel pressing across. So also about traditional yoga practice is that postures were given as almost, for want of a better word, medicine to fix people as well. And so they would make up a little practice for that person to fix their knee, they had a weak knee, fix a back, whatever it may be. So it was learning these postures, this correct way of how to move the body so that the nervous system can flow freely again and is strong. Okay, lower your knee. All right. So now let's stretch your legs into a side split. So you're going to press down your sit bones, press down your heels, and as if you had straps on the ends of the feet, you're pressing your big toe away. And you're going to pull up your kneecaps, lift your inner thighs. So that's what I was just talking about. So to be able to have the right action. So it might be difficult for you to connect your kneecap up, and those are the quad muscles and your inner thigh muscles as well, helping you to pull up your kneecap. And that may be where you're weak, or imbalanced in your body. So sport creates a lot of imbalances, and correcting them can then make you better at your sport. That's the great thing about yoga. It will give you where you're weak, you're blocked, or where you're tight as well, you're blocked. You're blocking strength, you're blocking power, you're creating ill health in that part of the body. And okay, bringing your legs in, we're going to sit on the block if you can't sit up with a straight back. So you sit up just like this, okay, in order for you to have a straight lower back. For want of a better word, yes, straight lower back. So you sit up on your sit bones, okay? If that's fine for you, then take the block away. You're going to stretch your right leg down in line with your hip, left foot on the other side of the knee. So this is fantastic for also sciatic nerve. You're going to take your right elbow around the left knee and your left hand around your back. You're going to press down on your sit bones and the left foot and the right heel. You're pressing down the sit bones, the left foot, and the right heel. And then your Mula Bandha pulls you in and up. Open your shoulders, and your upper back will rotate to the left. Looking forward, other side. Left foot down, right foot across. Okay, right hand behind the back, pressing down your sit bones, pressing down your right foot. So unless there is something like incredibly damaged in your body that would need private attention, I do give private attention, private lessons. It is really important that you don't avoid all of the movements of your back, your hips, just because you might not be good at them. Look forward. It is important to get good at them, just for your own health. Otherwise, you will have a block there, and the older you get, the harder it is to remove that block. So, only because over time it accumulates. Whatever you do in your body accumulates. Pressing down your sit bones, take your thumbs on your big toes, separating them. So with the sit bones pressing down, you're going to press down your knees. So we are using your outer hip muscles to free up your inner thigh muscles. And the groin muscles, the top of the inner thighs as well. But this also works on your piriformis, because to be able to rotate your hip out is really important when you're on a bike and your knees really go forward or they go in. So again, getting that outward rotation is very important. Okay, and we'll come out of that. Then we're going to come back up into another pigeon pose today, single one. You're going to cross your, we're going to rotate your right knee out, top the left foot down. I wanted to do 2 of these today, so you can feel the difference one to another. So reaching that left big toe back, pressing down the top of your foot, rotating your right knee out. Lower your knee, other side. Left leg turns out. Reaching your right foot back. Lowering your knee, coming off your hip, back into a downward dog. Hands and knees, hips up and back.
and lower your knees. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week.